If you're trying to grow the loudest, best version of your plants possible, come on, let's talk about flipping those genetic switches and growing top shelf cannabis. But before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Recharge. If you want stronger, healthier plants, if you want bigger roots for better fruits, you gotta check out Real Growers Recharge. It's like an instant compost tea that holds more nutrients at your root zone, breaks those nutrients down, and makes them more plant available, getting more of your nutrients into your plants. Find out more about Recharge over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. Come on, High C, you want to grow some dank?
I always want to grow some dank, Scott. Let's start though with a phenomena that I've noticed. You can take two cuts from the same mother,
Sure,
and end up with two wildly different plants. And I thought that cloning, you were supposed to have a pretty stable, predictable result, but I've seen the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen two twins. They've got the same exact genetics, right? But you put one in one situation, one in the other situation, they end up being very different, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's genetics. Genetics is the code that it's born with, the code. When you get sour diesel, AJ's cut of sour diesel, it is a specific genetics. So when you make a clone of that and you give it to somebody else, they grow it outdoors, you grow it indoors. When somebody grows it under fluorescent lights, somebody grows it under HPS lights, it's all different genetic expressions because it's the environment is going to pull out different genetic expressions. So they all have the same genetic potential, but you can do things to bring out these different expressions.
Okay, so let's get into it. Help me understand what you're talking about.
You know how you've seen in high school or middle school, the DNA, it's that double helix thing.
It's like a ladder that's twisted.
It's like a ladder. It looks empty, right?
It does.
It's not empty in nature. In real life, it's not empty. It's wrapped around a histone, which is a spool, basically. And then it has things covering it. It has all these proteins that are covering it. And these things determine whether they get signals from the other, from the outside, from the plant. And it tells them, does the histone want to swell up and make sure that nothing can be read from the DNA? Does there a protein that wants to cover something up so it can't be read? Or is there a protein that wants to go, hey, look at me, read me, turn the plant purple? So all these, they call it epigenetics. Epi, just like your epidermis, outside on top of your skin. Epi means on top of. So these are all the things. You've got your DNA, which is the basic code, the recipe book. And then epi is all the notes that you have on top of it. You got a Post-it note that says, don't do this if it's below 60 degrees. If it's too hot, do this. I crossed that part out because it doesn't apply anymore. That's the epigenetics. It's taking that code and making little modifications to it, just depending on environment. If you were to actually, mess up those genetics and do something that really messed them up, sprayed poison on them, that would mutate them. That would actually change the DNA, the genetic code. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just bringing different expressions out by treating the plant differently.
Okay, so let's talk about, you said that there's different outside influences
Sure.
that you can apply to your plant to bring out different expressions. Let's start with light. How can you use light to get different results from your plants?
I mean, there's spectrum. We talk about PAR, which is the 400 to 700 range there. That's where the plant's actually used for photosynthesis. So just by giving it more or less PAR, just like the sun is, 2,000 PAR, something like that, ppfd. If you have it under some fluorescent lights or under 100-watt light in a tent, it's getting much less PAR. That is going to change the genetic expressions of it.
Let's talk about outside of PAR, though, because you've shown me some pretty interesting stuff with UVB and with far red. Start with far red. How can you use far red to change the genetic expressions?
And far red's one of those kind of weird things. It happens at sunset. So far red, that you can use it to put the plant to sleep. So when you do that, I guess theoretically you'd be bringing out those hormones an hour or so earlier, those Florigen, the flower generating hormones. I'm talking during flower. And that would give you, an extra hour or so of Florigen. So that is going to change the genetic expression, right? We got 8%, 10%, whatever it is, more Florigen hormone going. That's certainly, if we had two twins and one of them was getting 10% more whatever hormone, testosterone, I'll bet you'd be a little different, right?
Right. Okay. So by having that red light right before lights out,
That puts them to sleep. Yeah.
and it helps them grow, it helps them kick in that hormone that produces flower.
Yep, that fluorogen. And then also red light's kind of weird. You can put it, you can use it during the grow. And if depending how much you use, it'll let the plant stretch out. So now you've got one plant that was grown under one light that is short and stocky. You've got another plant that they added far red to, which is really stretchy. But they're both the exact same genetics. It's the environment that dictates how they're growing. So far red has a couple different uses, right? You can use it during your light period, during flower, to make the plant stretch a little bit, if that's what you want, to bring them up a little taller. Or you can use it at the end of the day to actually put the plants to sleep right away, start that fluorogen production. I think that slows them down from stretching, actually, because you're kicking them in the nighttime gear right away.
Okay, let's go to the other end of the light spectrum.
Sure.
And UVB lights, you can use those to bring out different expressions as well, right?
Absolutely. Now that's a stress response, or it's getting that UV light. Plants don't normally get a bunch of UV light in nature. Most of it is, or the UVB, almost all of it is blocked. We'd be getting all sorts of terrible sunburns and skin cancer and stuff like that. But when the plant senses this, and we get just a little bit of it, when the plant senses it, it doesn't want, it's going to have leaf damage if it lets that UV penetrate its leaves. So what's it do? It starts making more trichomes. It starts filling them up so it can shade as much of that leaf as possible. So it's a stress response, but it's one that really works for us. So if you want more Frostier buds, you want to play with UVB, or it's something fun to play with. And I say play with it. Please be careful with UVB. I always say the B stands for burn. It is very easy to burn your plants with it. Start at 5 minutes a day with it. Start playing around with it. 10 minutes a day. Go and read what other people are doing with your specific fixtures. But be really careful with it. It's a very powerful tool.
It's not like far red where you can leave it on all day. You want to just a little bit.
Yeah. And UVB is bad for you too. I don't hang out in the grow while I'm using it. It goes on for 10 minutes a day. And I'll be completely honest, I have UVB set up. I've turned them off. I've got so much else to tweak first and perfect first before I turn those UVs on.
All right, let's jump into the next outside source that you can apply to your plants to express different epigenetics. And this is one of our favorites.
Sure.
Real Growers Recharge, soil microbes.
Yes. Soil microbes communicate with the plant roots, and they send chemical signals to them. And those signals can either flip switches on or off. Things that control stress, nutrient uptake, terpene synthesis, all those are epigenetic switches that they're waiting for signals from the plant. Well, those microbes are able to provide those signals. Don't forget, those microbes are hanging out right in the rhizosphere where the roots meet the soil. So those are your signal makers. Hey, can I tell you something first, really cool, what microbes do to the epigenetics of the plant?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, it's called induced systemic resistance, ISR. And it is literally like they're provoking the plant, and they go, hey, look, there might be an attack coming up. There might be an insect attack coming up. Get ready. Get your hand on the switch. And it gets those microbes, it gets that plant ready, and it just puts them in this strong defense state.
So instead of having to work hard to flip the switch, it's already primed to flip the switch. It just needs less of a signal.
Exactly. As soon as it gets that signal, it knows exactly what's up, and it's able to handle that stress. And microbes don't just signal stress. Sometimes they'll signal the opposite. Yo, we have everything we need. Turn this up to 10. Let's grow. And so the genetics and the microbes are all set just on, dialing it up to 10. So everything's working in concert.
Okay, let's talk about the last way that we're going to discuss today on how to affect the epigenetics. And let's talk about low temperatures at night in late flower specifically. You said that dropping those temperatures at night can trigger some epigenetic effects as well.
Yeah, it sends a signal that things are getting cold, fall is coming, and it really does depend genetically whether it has that code in that DNA. But if it does, the epigenetics, the environmental factors will tell it to flip on to certain switches. And one of the switches it flips on is making these anthocyanins, which turn your bud purple.
Ooh, I like the purple buds.
Yeah, that's why in those cold nights we'll bring out the purple in certain buds. It's always there. It's always in that genetic code. It just needs to be expressed. The protein needs to hop on there and say, "Yo, look at me. I want to turn purple."
It reminds me of during fall when the trees around Colorado, some of them, the leaves turn bright orange, red,
Yeah.
purple. Is that lower night temperature does bring out those colors.
Yeah, and it's not magic. It's sending a signal to the plant to create different chemicals.
Okay, and one other thing that you were telling me is lowering your temps at night in late flower can also increase terpene production.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. It's interesting anyway. There's these jasmonic acid pathways, and I know it's fancy or whatever, but those control or regulate terpene synthesis, terpene production by lowering your nighttime temperatures. There are studies that show it will stimulate those jasmonic pathways and therefore make more terpenes. So that's the theory behind it. And man, I know that when I have growers that are really able to get their nighttime temperatures in check, damn, they grow some good weed. Hey, but those are just a few of my tips on bringing out the best genetic expression of your plants. But what about you? What tricks you got? How do you bring the dank out of your plants? Let me know in the comments. If you dug this video, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know. And come on, check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommended. High C says you'll dig them.